Hey, thanks for taking the time to join us on Polk Place. I'm Brian Lacey, and joining me in studio is Callie Neslin. She's the president and CEO of GiveWell Community Foundation. Welcome to the show, Callie.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
All right, and also joining us is Christina Kreiser-Jackson, president and CEO of United Way of Central Florida. First time on the show, huh?
It is,
Yeah.
it is. We're grateful to be here.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, let's start off with a little bit about United Way of Central Florida. We know the title, and we know your title there, but briefly explain to us what you guys do to make a difference in the community.
Well, we're very grateful and honored to be able to serve the community and over 80,000 individuals each year. We do that under the focus areas of education, income, health, and safety net. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on, and it's mutually also with GiveWell, is that we address the greatest needs in the community. And so that's where this United Community Needs Assessment came about. And it's allowing us to look our donors in the eye and provide the statistics behind the work that we do and show them the difference that they can make behind our services.
Okay. Well, Callie, how about you? Talk to me a little bit about what GiveWell Community Foundation does and your role in it.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. GiveWell has a similar mission to United Way in that we are working with individuals in our community to try to improve the quality of life, both now and for future generations. And so the way that we collaborate is through things like the United Community Needs Assessment, but also very different. We often say that in terms of philanthropic dollars, United Way is like our community's checking account of their annual campaign and the annual community investment process, whereas GiveWell Community Foundation, we work with nonprofits, we hold endowments, and so it's like a savings account, kind of the longer term game as well.
As Christine mentioned, United Community Needs Assessment is what we're here to talk about. What exactly is it, and when did this project start?
The United Community Needs Assessment came about really in 2019 when the organizations decided that our donors would benefit from data that showed what are some of our community strengths and where are some of the gaps. And you know, we have a lot of folks that said, I want to do more, but where can I put those dollars? Where are they best served? And so we started forming steering committees and individual county committees in Polk, Highlands, and Hardee. And here in Polk County, we had about 17 members who came together and developed, here's the questions that we would like to ask, and here's what this process will look like. And then we identified 101 community partners who helped administer the survey and get it out to a very broad audience. So all total, I think we had a little over 4,000 or nearly 4,000 responses, 2,200 of which were directly from Polk County residents.
As we speak about this effort, what other groups were involved to help make this this collaboration?
It's across the board. We really dug deep, made sure that we included all of the partner agencies, traditional nonprofits, non-traditional partners that we work with, government entities. We've had a lot of great conversations, sort of what we call the listening tour, our elected officials, our individuals that are working in some of our senior citizens activities. We've looked at faith-based, civic, working with junior leagues, and it really is, when you talk about United, it's been an amazing effort to bring all players to the table and to look at what are the greatest needs. And also want to mention that we've really relied on Polk Vision. While this is a tri-county needs assessment, Polk, Highlands, and Hardee County using some of their best practices in their leadership to help guide the way.
For folks that watch Polk government television, we've recently broadcast the state of the county, and of course our mayor's roundtable. And one thing that we learned was growth in Polk County. How is growth affecting this study? What can you tell us about Polk County's population growth?
Sure, we have had tremendous growth. I think anybody watching feels that and is aware of that. So that's not a new statistic, but it is 20% in the last 10 years, and it's anticipated to be another 20% in the next decade. And so what I think is unique for Polk County about that is the demographic, that the growth is primarily the under 18. So it's not necessarily the retirees that are moving to Polk, that are moving to Florida that you think of. It is families. And what that means is that they have a great need for services, for education services, for child care services, things that cater to that demographic, which is different from maybe neighboring Highlands County, where their growth is primarily 65 plus, and so a lot of healthcare, retirement related services.
Whether it's education and the superintendent preparing for 7,000 additional students this year, over 9,200 students. When it's looking at the services that they provide, including some of the ESOL services, traffic, infrastructure, I mean, it just goes on and on how this growth is impacting our service partners and our community members.
Now, what did you learn about some of the domains within the study?
I think there's so many challenges that our community faces. And again, when we talk about philanthropy and the philanthropists in our community, we're very grateful to live in Polk County because there are amazing initiatives and agencies tackling everyday problems regularly. One of the things that we realized is that there are 6 domains that sort of came to the top. And so while we looked at all areas of education, the education provided by Polk County Public Schools in the ever-changing climates of getting out of COVID and changing demographics and the services that are being provided. When we look at economic areas, that was one of the areas that came up. Housing came up to the top. Wi-Fi and what we call that digital divide from those that have access to Wi-Fi, and we're very grateful that Polk County has focused on that and targeted on that in this area. But then also for those that don't have the access or that have unreliable access. So we had 6 domains that really came to the top.
Yeah, I would say probably one of the underlying threads throughout all 6 that we saw is kind of the ability of residents to earn a living wage here in Polk County, and the percentage of families that are struggling that are either kind of falling under the federal poverty level, or they fall into what we call an ALICE threshold, asset limited, income constrained, and employed. So those are your working families, but they are still very much living paycheck to paycheck. And so it was illuminating to see the reason a lot of people are moving to Polk County is that low cost of living and that sense of community, but the low cost of living is increasing, and wages are not necessarily increasing commensurate with that.
And awareness of services. So we were able, in this listening tour, we even learned quite a bit on different programs and services, but awareness with a county that's our size, awareness of the services that are being provided. And just because the headquarters may be in Bartow, it doesn't mean it's not serving Lakeland or Winter Haven, but how do we get those clients and those community members to the services that can assist them? But ask for help. I think that's the biggest thing, is ask for help.
Now, within the assessment, what are the next steps that need to take place?
Sure. We recognize that the United Community Needs Assessment is a snapshot in time, and so we want this data to be living and breathing, where we can measure ourselves as a community and say, are we okay with some of these metrics of where our kindergarten readiness scores are, or some of our hunger-related statistics. And so we are having conversations right now about an interactive dashboard where community members could go and see. One of the standout statistics and areas of greatest need is certainly access to health providers and behavioral health. And so that is a ratio that we are tracking that, like I said, I think to continue that conversation, we need to measure ourselves against it, and we need to have honest conversations on a regular basis. And so looking with a couple different media partners who may have interest in hosting that and continuing the conversation.
If you could, talk to me a little bit why you guys are doing the assessment. How does that work out?
Sure, I think that we recognize as the region's two major philanthropic organizations that we're in a very unique position, and that is to gather data, to work across sectors, to share that information, to influence policy, and then certainly to garner resources to address those needs. And so when we looked at the value in having data such as that provided in the survey, we said let's do it together, and yeah, we think that would be a value to our government leaders, to our nonprofit partners, and certainly to our donors as well.
Well, we're quickly running out of time, so last but not least, where can folks find out more information about the assessment?
The 184-page report is on
just 184?
Yes, ucneeds.com, and then there is a wonderful handy-dandy I would call it your executive summary for each of our counties that's available both in English and in Spanish. And so I would encourage anyone to visit ucneeds.com, check it out, and read more about each of the domains and some of the findings.
Well, ladies, I want to thank you for coming in today. Please come back and see me. You know, I feel like the only time I see you is when this goes on, and I know you have more connections than this, so you got to come back and see me.
We're going to come back and bring some animals.
Exactly.
From some of our nonprofit friends. Yeah.
And you've still got that new president and CEO smell that and you've got to come back and see me. It's like a new car smell, you know.
Yes.
And talk to me a little bit about what you guys do. So please do come back and see me soon, please.
Yeah, appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
In 2021, GiveWell Community Foundation and United Way of Central Florida began a collaborative effort to assess the needs of the residents of Polk, Highlands, and Hardee counties. The region's two major philanthropic organizations worked with an independent consultant along with many community partners to gather, review, and analyze reliable data about the challenges facing the Tri-County area. If you need more information on the United Community Needs Assessment, look them up on the web at ucneeds.com or give them a call, 863-683-3131. If you enjoyed that episode of Polk Place, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and even check out the next one.